Hello fellow modelers and styling fanatics, welcome back to my channel. I hope that everyone is doing fine and enjoys the hobby. Concrete Banger is back again today with another one of its notorious episodes as expected. So, on today's episode we work on nothing else than our Beijing BJ212 Military Jeep from Trumpeter in 1/35th scale and kept number 02302 if I remember correctly, and I think that I remember correctly. So for the guys that came straight from my first episode, I have to tell you that I am even more surprised by this kit. The thing is getting us more and more involved, and it gets even more detailed, with each step. On this episode, me and Past George, we work onto the chassis assembly, and apart from two minor setbacks that I am going to explain upon step number 5, we faced no issues at all. One of those setbacks is my mistake, so I cannot count it at all. Thing, as I've said, is getting more and more detailed. I am having a blast with this build, mainly because it is getting more and more detailed, and it is funny and challenging at the same time, and nothing more for me to know. So you guys all know the drill. Grab yourselves a seat, make yourselves comfortable, grab the mandatory cold one or a hot brew, depends where you are in the world, and let's see what me and Past George have prepared for you in this episode. Hello guys, welcome back to part 2 of our BJ212 build, and I will start exactly where I left from, which means that we have completed step number 3 of the instructions, and we are moving to step number 4. Now give me a moment to grab the instructions, because I want to talk about them. I want to point out what exactly we are going to do right now. So here they are. This is our 4th step. So on 4th step, as you can probably see, we have 1, 2, 3 sub-assemblies. This one is the front differential, this one is the rear, and this one is the thing that connects front and rear differential. Still, I cannot remember the name. Anyway, this will come in later possibly. So we have to make those 3 sub-assemblies first and then move on. Now, okay, the difference between the central differential, that's how I'm gonna call it, is obvious, but here in the front differential and the rear we have a slight difference. Difference is that the front has square indentations over here in order for the front wheels to be inserted, and that the rear has a circular indentation in order for the metal shaft to go in. So we won't need any baggies we don't need to use any baggies in order for us to know that those are 2 different parts. They are pretty obvious. Now, off camera, the only thing that I have done was to clear all the necessary pieces for those sub-assemblies, and I have them over here, 3 small piles of parts. So let me zoom in and let's start. I am going to start from the front one, the front diff, and move forward towards the back. So here we have them, those three pieces. Let me see something. No, I didn't screw up. I know that this doesn't look square, but this is the right part. We need to clean this a little bit. Okay. Come on. I didn't noticed it while I was cleaning the pieces, while I was sanding, the screw gates. Anyway, better late than never. Well, okay. Kinda looks better right now. Anyway, we need to flip this part and we need to insert this other part. We need to glue them together. To be precise, there is a key that will help us line up both pieces. And glue application. Now let me also grab my tweezers because we are going to need them. Oh yeah, of course. I want to make sure that this thing is straight, and there we have it. The front diff is come on, focus darling, ready. Now that's the front one, let's move on to the rear one. Same thing, no need for me to describe the whole procedure again. And let's rifle through it. Hopefully I am in frame. Hopefully. Oh, come on.
One eternity later.
Fine tuning, guys. Sorry, I know this takes a lot of time. Here we have the rear one. So, let's leave this aside. And let's move on to the center one. Let's join the two bigger pieces together. Hopefully I will be able to do it with tweezers. Yep. Hold it steady. apply a bit more glue, for as a safety measure. And let's see, now here where the single hole is, we need to attach this part. Be careful because we have this part as well, but this one will go onto the opposite side, so single hole that part. Nailed it or not? Give me a moment, guys, I wanna see something. Okay, now we flip the part, and here we have two holes. So onto the left one we need to place this, onto the right one we need to place this. And I also have to make sure that I won't leave any fingerprints. Fine tuning. Or messing with a well placed part. And there we have it as well. Oh, come on. Feisty little piece was fighting me back. Okay. So, as I've said, so with that done, not as I've said, sorry, brain fart over there. With that done, we have completed the 3 sub-assemblies of step number 4. Now I am going to leave them to dry, obviously, and I am going to prepare the rest of the pieces in order to complete the whole thing. Okay guys, parts are dry, and let's immediately let's immediately continue our work on step number 4 of the instructions. Now, so for that step we will also need the front leaf spring suspension systems, the front left wheel and the front right wheel, and of course the front diff. Now thing assembly goes as so. Let's move this aside. We have to mount the leaf spring suspension system first, and this suspension system needs to be mounted onto the flimsiest connection points I have ever seen, to be honest with you guys, but we will make work of them. So you grab the suspension system oriented like this, and you insert it over here. Come on, yes, like so. Let me press it a little bit. So needs to be inserted over here in this flimsy protrusions, I have to say. So I am going to insert the other side as well. Glue application here. Let's hope that they will be able to hold the vehicles weight. Come on, yes, exactly. Now what we need to do, here is the trick, here's the catch. The front diff will float, which means that the only connection points with the front diff are the wheels. So let's orient it this way. I will need to do some minor adjustments here. I will need to feed the wheel axle over here at this hole, like so, and this will meet the diff here, and the exact same thing is going to happen from the opposite side. And then I am going to apply glue, and you will see exactly where I will apply it. Wish me luck, guys. This needs a little bit of finesse. Come on. Okay. I think that's it. Now I am not gonna glue this thing yet, mainly because it needs to be connected with the central diff. I will leave it as it is for the time being, and I'm going to prepare the parts for the rear diff. I know that I've told you guys that we are going to move on to the rear diff assembly, but bear with me, we are going to move onto the center diff assembly, mainly because this will help us to stabilize the front and have, a solid basis. So what we need to do, we need to flip this thing, of course, and we need to attach the central diff over here, like so, if I am not mistaken, which I am not. Okay. Tweezers were on the way, that's why the part flew away. Oh, come on, do me a favor. This will need to be inserted here. Note that the part that has the two attachment points over here needs to look towards the engine, needs to be oriented towards the engine, aka the front of the vehicle. Now, this is an axle that you can find at step number 5. This axle will will connect the front diff with the center diff, and then another axle will come and connect the center diff to the engine, and another axle will come and connect the central diff with the rear. But right now what we need is this one that connects the central diff with the front. And let me see, yep, needs to go here, like so. Oh, this is going to be a huge pain in the back, I can already tell. Okay, come on. Okay, wait here. Okay. Now I will need to wait for this glue point to dry, so this one is solid, and then I will attach this one over here, or attach the axle at the front with the front diff, and glue the front diff with the axle and the two road wheels together. I know I describe it kinda weird, and I cannot properly explain you what I mean, but this is the only way to make sure that the floating front diff is positioned in the right place. Here it is, guys, in all its glory. As I've said, everything is in place onto the front. Let's move onto the rear now. Here is another problem, but I am going to discuss about it when we approach it. So let's start from the attachment of the leaf spring, the rear leaf spring suspension system. So once again, this will be attached over here, over these pins. So I will apply my glue there. And what we need to do is we need to grab this one oriented like this. We need to feed it through the chassis rail, and as expected we need to mount it over the rails. In my case, fitting is a little bit snug, but it is there. We still can fit it, so no problems. Let's attach the other one as well. And for a moment there, I thought that I have misplaced them for a quick moment. There we have it. So now we need to insert the metal rod here at the back. Try to insert it at least, yes. Give me a, let's see. Okay. We also need to insert it through the rear diff, like so, and then through the other the other leaf spring suspension part. Oh, this is finicky. Okay. and then we need to attach the wheels as well. Now, a problem that I have is how the F am I going to attach the wheels and keep them movable, which I haven't thought of yet, mainly because I need to use super glue so the plastic will glue to the metal, A, and B, I have the same problem with this one. This thing is levitating and I need to correctly align it. But this is for that problem, for the alignment problem, I have the usual issue, the usual solution the same thing that I have done over here. I am going to attach this one like so. Glue it, wait for the glue to dry, and then attach the rear diff, and then attach, the axle to the rear diff. Now let me see what I can do about the wheels off camera, and I am going to be back to try to explain you my solution. Okay guys, things are looking good. This thing is now in position. The rear diff is now in position. I did the same thing as I have done with the front one, with the exception that I have never glued the differential with the metal axle, mainly because that's the only way I can maintain rotation of the wheels so far, I think. Another thing that I have done is to press fit the wheels in place. The fit is snug and no glue is needed, so yay for that. And if you follow the same build as oh my god, what a brain fart. If you are following this build and you build along with me, upon the completion of step number 4, this is what you are supposed to be looking at. So I am going to leave this aside because it is not totally dry yet. I mean, the glue is not totally set yet, and I am going to grab the instructions. So what have we done? We have completed the majority of we have completed everything. From step number 4, all the sub-assemblies are in place. Normally I would have left them off the vehicle in order for me to paint them, but I decided to play it a little bit risky and paint the whole thing black and then detail paint it. Now, in this up until this point, I have also used this one, I think, B22 from step number 5. Now, this is our next topic, step number 5. So, upon step number 5, I'm not going to place the radiator and the engine, of course, together with B3, which is the axle that connects the engine with the main, with the central diff, but I am going to attach the rest of the stuff. And when I say the rest of the stuff, I am talking about the steering wheel assembly, and I think, yeah, the steering wheel and the rear, oh god, how is it called? Coilover, no, not springs. You know, this part the rear suspension system. Well guys, it has been 3 to 4 days since I have found some time to sit on the bench, and I don't even remember what I was talking about in the previous clip, but all I can remember is that we are on step 5 of the instructions. Now on step 5 of the instructions we have the attachment of the engine and radiator, which I will postpone mainly because I will need to detail paint the chassis. I have also spotted one mistake that I have done on step 4, so be wary when you build this kit and don't do the same mistake as I did. It is a 50-50 mistake. 50% is the instructions fault because they don't highlight it, and the other 50% is me because I have never given the proper care, the proper time to read thoroughly the instructions. So guys, please read thoroughly your instructions before you build. Now let me explain what I mean with the mistake. Here on step number 4 we have to attach the front wheels, as you can see, which is a thing that we have already done, but again I am going to explain the mistake. And here is what the instructions never highlighted. You see this? There is a hole here in the back of each of front wheel, and this hole needs to point upwards. Upwards meaning to the direction of the car body. I didn't have a keen eye in this case, so this hole isn't pointed in that direction. This hole in my case is pointing, I don't know if you can see, oh come on, yeah, you kinda can see. It's pointing over here at the front bumper of the vehicle, which will affect the position of the steering rack. That's how I am going to call this. This is clearly not the steering rack, but this is how I am going to call it. So this is going to affect the positioning of the steering rack, but not in a tragic way. Anyway, nothing I can do right now about it. This will haunt me for the rest of the eternity, but it is what it is. I can still, place the thing, I think, but I cannot place it on top. You have to place it, you have to place the thing over here on top of the chassis, but I am going to place it at the bottom of the chassis over here. You're gonna see how I am going to quote unquote remedy it. Anyway, that's my mistake, so be careful guys not to do the same mistake as I did. Now there is another thing that I don't like in this step also, and this is the placement of the suspension system. When I say the suspension system, I am talking about the coilovers here, the coilovers. Those need to be mounted on the chassis, and the other part needs to be mounted onto the metal shaft, which is kinda troublesome to me, mainly because this is a round object and you don't have the proper place to position it, a flat area to position it, and mainly because I glue plastic to metal, which I will need to use super glue, which I don't like so much, but anyway, it is what it is. Now enough of me talking about it, yapping about it. Let's start working on to this step. So let me zoom in. Let's get in here and let's start from the placement of the suspension coilovers, the shock absorbers. Yeah, I remembered the name. Now I am going to start to grab my extra thing. I am also going to grab some super glue. And let's hope for the best. Oh god, my super glue is clogged. Okay. Now it is ready to go. So, first things first. Apply extra thin over here and over here, and then let me see. Yeah, I need to grab it like this. And ooh, flimsy. And I need to place it somewhere, hopefully. Yeah, that wasn't really bright, but anyway. I need to place it over here, like so. And let's do the same thing from the other side. For the other side, sorry. And let's dip it too. Let's dip one end to the super glue. And the other end will go here. So, shock absorbers should go like this. Rear shock absorbers should be placed like this. Top of the top, yeah, the part over there, and the bottom part on an angle on top of our metal axle. Now let's flip this puppy, and I did that like a Neanderthal. And let's see what we can do about our steering system. Well, since I have the super glue, let's use that. You grab that tiny piece and you insert it here. Yeah, please. There. And you grab that other tiny piece and you do the same thing on the opposite direction over here. And now let me see if I can do that. No, of course, and I can't. Okay, now I will need to feed this thing over the two parts that I have attached. Yeah, one side. Okay. I will need something to hold it, and that something is the extra thin, and I will need to be extra precise and persistent. Okay. Oh, come on. there we have it, guys. Okay, it is wrongly positioned, but it is still positioned. Okay, it is there. Now, most of you guys would recommend me not to position it, but I don't know. I feel better knowing that it is there. Let me know what you would do. Would you position it even if it is in the wrong spot, or you wouldn't position it at all? I don't know. I am not yet sure. You know, if it will cause a problem, you know, to the looks of the vehicle, if it is so, you know, visible and badly visible, I will chop it. If not, I will leave it as it is. Anyway, don't be fool like me. Read extra carefully your instructions to avoid any mistakes like I did over here. Now, let's move this aside. Let's zoom out a bit. Let's grab our instructions and erase what we did. So, rear shock absorbers are there, mounting points for the steering column are there, the steering rack is here, yeah, and that's the highlighting for where to put your shock absorbers. And we move on to step number 6. Now, upon step number 6, we have to attach the tires, which of course I am going to leave off until the end of the build. We have to attach also the exhaust system, and in order to attach it, the engine has to be in place, so I will leave this for a later stage. And then we have also to attach our front shock absorbers. Yeah, those, I think that we can attach them right now. Okay, that's our whole part 6 that you see in front of you. Yeah, those two parts, unfortunately. And I have checked the instructions almost 4 times just to be sure that I am going to position them correctly. This is what happens when you do when you do a mistake. You then are not sure about yourself. Anyway, let's zoom in a bit. These these shock absorbers are going to be a little bit more secure, by my opinion. They will, of course, mount onto the axle, and the other end will mount over here up to this point. So I suppose that they are going to be a little bit more, you know, yeah, as I've said, secure, for the lack of a better word. Now, let's apply glue to help that piece stay in place at one point at least. At one point, you know. Oh, come on. Will you cooperate with me a little bit? Just a little bit. Yep. See what happens when you cooperate? Everyone is happy. There and there. And we will do the same thing for the other side. Remember, George, we need to place that in a specific manner, in a specific direction, like so. Come on. Yep. Please drop in place there. Now I am sure that this will be a little bit blurry for you guys, but bear with me. I am going to try to explain as best as I can. So, as I've said, the top part mounts over here and the bottom part needs to be mounted onto the axle over here. Now it will need to pass from in front of the axle, mount in the front part of the axle, not in the back, in the front. Hopefully this made sense. And that's it. So this is doing this as well, supposedly marks our finish, our final step for the chassis, which of course it is not true, but anyway, which means that upon moving on to step number 7, we will begin our work onto the body. Now I will separate, I suggest, well, my thought is to separate the build in sections. We have done the engine and all the preparation, the basic preparation for the chassis on our part number 1. For all the guys that have watched this one, this part number 2, this episode that you watch right now, will be the chassis, and then on part number 3 we will work onto the car body. I think that I have gathered enough footage, and I think that this separation will be logical, will be this. I think that this is a good point to stop, to be honest with you guys. Anyway, I will not be able to do more work onto the chassis until I paint it. Yep, I have guessed right. Looks like I have more than enough footage to wrap up this episode. So, we will wrap this episode up, and with all that said and done, we have made it to the end of it. For our next episode, we will start working on our military jeep body. I hope that you guys found this video helpful and interesting, and stick along for the next one. Before I go, I want to thank each and every one of you guys that watched this video. A special thank you to all my subscribers, old and new ones. You guys are the best, and you are the reason I keep doing these videos. Now, for the newcomers out there that encounter one of my videos for the first time, welcome guys. I hope that you like what I do. If so, you all know what to do. Leave a like, comment with your thoughts and opinions, share the video if you believe it deserves to be shared, or even consider subscribing for more builds to come your way. Until the next time, fellow modelers and friends, take care and model on. It was that Mofo Damon, signing out.